Welcome to Athens City Council. This evening, we will be meeting in council committees. The meeting will be called to order by the City Council President, who will then pass discussion over to a respective committee. The chair of the committee will introduce the discussion topics and provide an overview of the issues at hand. If needed, members of the administration will offer brief statements to provide further context. We will then welcome input from the community. Any citizens who wish to speak will be asked to state their name and address, both verbally and on the sign and sheet located at the podium. Individuals will be given one opportunity to share their thoughts, and the committee chair will have the authority to limit each speaker to 3 minutes. Once all citizens have had the opportunity to speak within the 15-minute time period allotted for total public participation on each topic, the public comment portion will be closed. Council committee members will then continue their deliberations. There may be additional questions directed to the administration during this time. When the discussion on the topic concludes, the chair will indicate whether legislation will be introduced at the next regular session of council and move on to the next item on the agenda or adjourn the committee if their work is complete. The next committee chair will then call their committee to order, proceeding in the same manner as before. Once all committees have adjourned, City Council will conclude for the evening.
Good evening. This is a committee session of Athens City Council. It's March 10, 2025, on or about 7:02 p.m. I'm Jeff Reisner, the President Pro Tem of Council. I'm chairing the committee sessions tonight because our President of Council, Sam Crowell, is not here. As is the mayor is absent, and the law director, I believe, is not attending. The first thing we have to cover tonight is a public hearing, which is titled R1 Zoning Designation for Proposed Cable Lane Annexation. This being a public hearing, if the audience has signed the sheet for the public record, I'll now call the public hearing open, and if there's anyone in the audience who would care to speak to this issue, please go to the podium and state your name, and if you're affiliated with the group, and let's hear your opinions.
Thank you. I'm David Mott. I'm legal counsel for Frander Properties, the owner of the property for discussion. Just wanted to note that my client is in favor of the proposed R1 zoning designation.
Thank you. Anyone else care to speak on this issue? In the back row, anyone back there want to speak? Front row? No? Well, that being the case, and there's no more testimony to be given, I will declare the public hearing closed, and we will proceed on to our business of council of various committee meetings. The first committee that is to report is our Transportation Committee, which is chaired by Solveig Spilnes, with members Beth Clodfelder, Michael McCary, and yours truly, Jeff Reisner. Other members of council can sit with the audience.
Okay. We have several things. We'll take them one at a time. The first one is street closures. This is something we do every year. We try to do it as simply as possible. So what we did was we got, we had anyone interested in having a street closure throughout the year, as much as we can gather at this point, and asked them to complete a form that Andrew Chicky, our Deputy Service Safety Director, which is quite comprehensive, and a number of places did complete that form. So I'm just going to go through this briefly. This is an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to close streets in the uptown area for the Plains Lions Club Cruise-Ins, the Athens Community Arts and Music Festival, Bounty on the Bricks, Halloween Block Party, and there are others. So, in Section 1, it says the Service Safety Director is hereby authorized to close streets in the uptown area for the Plains Lions Club Cruise-Ins. I just mentioned a few. Others include Ohio Brew Week, First Call, Last Call, Athens Community Arts and Music Festival, Bounty on the Bricks, I mentioned, Ohio Brew Week, again, Fall Fest, Halloween Block Party. There's been a couple of other organizations who have requested being on this list, but they didn't get to us quickly enough, so that may be on the list for next week at first reading. Some group called the Jeeps apparently is interested in doing something. I don't have the exact dates on that, but we should get it. Pride Fest, I talked to Ari Faber, and he was going to get that in today, but didn't make it quickly enough. So I think that's also going to be on the list. There may be others, and this is an announcement. Anybody that wants that, try to get it in as soon as possible, although we will entertain other possible street closures later on. Any comments, questions, concerns about that? Anybody?
You have dates?
I'm sorry?
You have dates?
Oh, you want to hear all the dates?
Yeah.
Okay. The Plains Lions Club Cruise-Ins, June 6th, August 1st, August 29th, from Court Street from Washington to State, Ohio Brew Week First Call, July 11th, from Court Street from Washington to State, Ohio Brew Week Last Call, July 19th, from Carpenter to Washington, Athens Community Arts and Music Festival, August 2nd, West Union Street from Court to Congress, Bounty on the Bricks, August 9th, Court Street from Union to Washington, Ohio Brew Week Fall Fest, September 6th, West Union Street from Congress to Court, Halloween Block Party, October 25th. So that's what we have so far.
Okay, the reason I asked, do I need to go to the podium?
Please.
Or can I go from here or what? It's okay from here?
You're invisible on television, though.
Oh, okay. I'll go. The reason I asked for dates, couple things that October, the 8/29, the Lions thing.
Wait, 8/29?
Did you say?
Yes, for the.
You said August 29th?
Lions Club.
Oh, that one, yeah, right.
That is the same weekend that we're gonna have 3,000 people in town for that big BMW festival that the gentleman talked to us about. That's Labor Day weekend, right? That's a Friday night?
Well,
The gentleman, Mr., I can't remember what his name was, but he was sitting over here, he came up and told us that, so we're gonna have 3,000 extra people in town in BMWs, and that might be something we wanna look into. Also that, September 6th. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the biggest football crowd this town has had in 40 years. I can check my phone, but I believe that is when our neighbors across the Ohio River will be descending on Peden Stadium for the OU West Virginia football game. And that might be something we might look into. There are people literally from West Virginia, big Mountaineer fans, who can't get tickets to Morgantown, are currently buying OU season tickets just to get that game. And we will have a huge crowd. So depending on what time this event is and what time that game is, we could have maybe a little more action than we want in this town on one weekend.
thank you for that input. that's something we can look into, exactly what the times are.
Right.
Considering the form that they have to complete, I'm sure Andrew Chicky has that information, so we can look into it. Okay, anybody? Yes.
I think that's a really good point that Member Swank raised, but I suspect that the organizers of some of the fests would kind of like the idea of there being a lot of people around, because then maybe more people would come to their event for a while. But we should consider whether or not it would be a parking nightmare, because that might be.
Okay.
And also going back to the football game, I know for the big football games that they borrow some of our safety services. And my bigger concern is spreading those folks too thin. But we have 3 readings on this, so we have plenty of time to look into it.
Yeah, this is just for discussion during committee, so.
Yeah, it is,
for those of you out there-
that is the West Virginia game, September 6th.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Is
right.
it too late to get tickets?
Got 2.
Okay, the other pieces of that, of course, are vending, peddling, and soliciting to allow vending in designated event areas. And according to this, is it okay if I just move from one to the other, or do you want to?
No, that's your
Okay.
committee.
All right, I just want to make sure I'm not messing up any rules. Okay, the enforcement of Athens City Code 11.04, vending, peddling, and soliciting is hereby suspended from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. to allow vending in the designated street closure areas. And that's Athens Arts and Music Festival, Ohio Brew Week, Bounty on the Bricks, and the Halloween Block Party. And then it goes into the specifics of how you get a vending license, et cetera. Do you want me to read that, or do we need to go into that much detail right now? Okay. Any questions, concerns? Yes.
Thank you for providing this initial committee review. I am curious just about your initial impressions of the dates and how concentrated or spread out they are. I am aware that the Southeast Ohio Rainbow Alliance's forthcoming application for the intended Pride Month parade is going to be June 7th, and I heard that there was like another event June 6th, and I'm just curious about any input that rather business owners or our city safety services providers might have when it comes to are there too many street closures in a particular weekend, or is that even such a consideration?
That's a good question. I'd welcome any business owners to give their input regarding that. And certainly, if they have to go through city services and Andrew Chicky, he's going to be able to know whether that's one of the reasons he wanted the form, is so he could determine whether there's enough police coverage and everything else they need. So he would be able to determine that. But if businesses or other organizations have some concerns, they're welcome to contact us and give us their opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, and then on a related note, of course, is the noise ordinance. And as we know, these things can get noisy, so an ordinance suspending the enforcement of Athens City Code Title 13 General Offenses, Chapter 13.04, Offenses Against Public Peace, Section 1304.10, Unnecessary Noise in Designated Event Areas. So this is allowing for noise beyond what we normally would allow for Athens Arts and Music Festival, Ohio Brew Week, Halloween Block Party. Now, if there's other events that need also to be concerned about suspending the rules, the ordinances having to do with noise, please let us know. Okay, and I'll make sure that I talk with Andrew about that. Okay, the next item is the State Route 682-56 project, number 357, construction of the roundabout. Yes, we are actually talking about this now. There's been some discussion for a while, as you all know. Whereas this roundabout project is to improve both congestion and safety at this location, and whereas Ordinance 62 2023, authorize preliminary engineering services for project number 357. And whereas the city has been awarded $2.39 million from ODOT and $400,000 from OPWC, be it ordained by the Council of the City of Athens, Ohio, the Service Safety Director is hereby authorized to enter into contracts for construction of a single-lane roundabout at State Route 682 and 56 intersection. I provided for everyone a copy of, or a preliminary copy of the design, what it would look like. It will be helpful to hear from our esteemed experts on this to explain this a little bit.
Yeah.
Because all those dots and dashes and things are not as clear to me as I got a copy of it, but not a full explanation. So we will look forward to getting a full explanation of what all those lines and everything on that are. But we've seen some of this before. In essence, one of the things I want to emphasize is that the Service Safety Director assures me that in the process of doing this construction, that there will never be any blockage, that we can always get through there. And that is part of the bidding. So I know everybody's concerned about that given past history of projects, but I want to throw that in. There's a little bit more later, but I should go to section 2. So the 2025 appropriation ordinance 11524 is hereby amended by appropriating from the unappropriated balance the following sums: $1,083,000 to Street Fund 220, Transaction Code 500, $2,039,000 to Small Cities ODOT Fund 589, Transaction Code 500, and $400,000 to OPWC Fund 590 for said project 357, and increasing the total appropriations by said amount. Section 3, the Service Safety Director is further authorized to expend up to $4,620,000 as follows: $1,083,000 from Street Fund 220, Transaction Code 500, and $2,039,000 from Small Cities ODOT Fund 587, TC 500, and $400,000 from OPWC Fund 590 for said project 357. So let me give a little bit more information. So to stay on the timeline required by ODOT, the project must be bid and awarded prior to June 30th. And we are seeking authorization and appropriation now in order to get moving so we can have a couple of opportunities to bid should they be needed. As you recall, sometimes we've had situations where we've had to bid at least twice in order to get someone who actually can do it within a price that we can do it. The construction window is summer of 2025 through the end of summer of 2026, so coming up pretty fast. While it is a tight space to work, I'm quoting here, while it is a tight space to work during design, we were explicit with the engineering firm that all 4 directions need to be maintained during construction. That is, a leg may not be closed. A temporary signal will be used and traffic shifted around, such as the roundabout may be built in quadrants. I hope that that is actually, assuming we pass this, what we will see. I just want to mention the roundabout, of course, will replace the traffic signal as well as drainage, utility, lighting, and sidewalk improvements. So he also, Andy Stone also mentioned that this roundabout area, well, future hopefully roundabout area, has been identified as a high severity crash location in the city of Athens, as well as a high congestion intersection, particularly during peak hours when Ohio University is in session. It is a choke point, being the only entrance to the central part of the city from the west without a several-mile detour. So it's important that if we do this, we have to make sure that we get it right and open it up so people can get around it. Otherwise, it would be bad in so many ways. And because West Union has suffered quite a bit, I'm hoping that this is really going to work in the way that is anticipated. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Anyone out there? Here? Committee? Others? Yes.
The only concern I have, and I hope they will do this, is the most critical customer here is the Athens City Schools because of the location of Morrison Elementary and where it might be thought that we're just delaying one bus. That one bus affects the next bus and the next bus and the next bus because kids going from the primary school to this school to that school. So I'm hopefully early in the process we can engage with their transportation supervisor to minimize those disruptions to kids' school day.
Okay. Important point. Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Next is the Athens streetscape beautification. And I have all the explanation, but I do not appear to have the draft of the, so I thought I did. Hold on.
I can read the notes from the email.
I've got that.
Okay, got that,
Yeah,
okay.
I've got that. Okay. The purpose of this project is to bury the overhead electric and telecommunications lines in the uptown, specifically along State and Mill between College and Congress and along Carpenter between State and Congress. It also includes sidewalk and streetscape features along Carpenter. We are seeking appropriation authorization for engineering and construction of the already granted $6.5 million in ACGP funds to Fund 905 TC 500. For this project, we're a sub-grantee of Ross County. Engineering has already been underway and is being paid directly by Ross County. This ordinance will capture the expenditure, but for the future construction, the city will bid the project and Ross County will advance the funds as we conduct construction. Kind of an interesting cooperative project. This project will take place over 18 to 20 months and will generally include a city contractor building conduit for the utilities, then the city then paying the utilities for them to place the new cabling in the conduit and install pad-mounted transformers. I will look forward to hearing from those experts on this, what this specifically means. Once the new lines are active and energized, adjacent property owners will hire their own electrician to connect to the new facilities. Not sure exactly how that works. The city will establish a fund out of this money to reimburse property owners for their costs. Once all owners have connected, the old utilities and poles will be removed and the sidewalks repaired. Andy Stone further went on, Mount Zion Church, the Southeast Ohio History Center, and the Armory are all also funded under ACGP, which will result in massive expenditures and improvements in the northern end of uptown Athens. A related but unconnected project that will be rebid in roughly the same time frame as this uptown improvements project. Which is again, a streetscape project to replace sidewalk crosswalks and install decorative street lights on Washington and State in the uptown area. These projects have to be coordinated for sidewalk and maintenance of traffic impacts, but have to be kept separate because the Uptown Improvements Project involves federal funds and ODOT. So, I think there's a lot of questions there. Got this fairly late in the game, so I think it would be helpful to have those experts to explain some of this in more detail. Yes.
I anticipate that this is one of those questions that we might get clarification on later, but it's possible that someone here already knows what is a decorative streetlight, and do we have them in other areas of Athens already as an example?
Richland Avenue.
Okay. And
What'd you say?
Richland Avenue, the streetlights that go down from the roundabout to intersection of Canterbury. Those are
Okay.
all decorative street lamps, you know, LEDs, and have that old-fashioned look.
Okay.
So
Maybe it'll be the same. Probably,
Could
something
be.
like that.
it'd be nice if they kept a theme instead of
Yes.
having a mismatch of,
Yes.
I mean, I was trying to replace my outdoor lamps on my garage, and I thought, boy, that's going to be easy. So I walked into Lowe's, and I'm going, wow, it's like that. That's the problem you get into, is
Lots of options there.
lots of options, too many options.
Too many options. Okay. Any other questions about that generally? Again, I have a lot of questions, but didn't really have an opportunity to get into it too deeply. So, and I'd rather have them explain it with their expertise. All right, moving right along, unless somebody has something else. Okay, so the next thing is these are pretty mundane, the next two. So, as you know, each year we allow for some free days in the parking garage to encourage people to shop around the holidays. So this is an ordinance for that. An ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to suspend temporarily the fee for parking at metered spaces in the municipal parking garage on certain dates in December of this year. So the dates are, it says, the Service Safety Director is hereby authorized to suspend the fee for parking in the municipal parking garage, excluding 2-hour metered spaces on 1 upper, as follows. December 5th after 4 p.m., uptown tree lighting, apparently. Saturday, December 6th all day. December 11th after 4 p.m. December 18th after 4 p.m. December 20th all day. Wednesday, December 24th all day. And that's it. Again, we do this every year to encourage people to shop uptown.
Mm-hmm.
So, any comments, questions? It's the usual thing. All right, and the last one here is an ordinance suspending Athens City Code Section 7.05.03, continuous parking in the same location from Sunday, December 14th of this year through midnight on Sunday, January 12th of 2026. Athens City Code Section 7.0503, continuous parking in the same location is hereby suspended from, as I just said, it speaks for itself. In any case, again, we've been doing this for years, and this gives people an opportunity, especially those, obviously, who really don't have any place to park their car in a garage or in a driveway, to leave their car for vacations and holidays through this period of time. And this particularly helps students who leave their cars here as well. Mm-hmm. Any comments, questions, concerns, complaints? Well, that's all of the discussion for the Transportation Committee for today.
Thank you, Member Solvay. Our next committee is the City and Safety Services. That's chaired by Micah McCary with members Reisner, Thomas, and Swank. Take it away, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We have just one item on our City and Safety Services agenda this evening, and that is Columbus Road Lift Stations, project number 359 construction. Our Columbus Road lift stations are in need of 2 sewage lift stations that are currently too small and at the end of their life. So the first is on Door Lane and is referred to as the Columbus Road number 1 lift station, and the second is one on Theater Lane. This project will support the new hospital and expected growth of the surrounding areas as it comes fully online. The draft engineer's estimate is $1.75 million for construction, and we're seeking appropriation and authorization for $120,000 from CDGB Fund 248 and $1.63 million in Sewer Fund 750.637. Construction should take place this summer and be minimally disruptive. The traveling public and sewer customers should not be affected. So again, this is project number 359 that we'd be starting to get these 2 sewage lift stations replaced with something larger and less old. So with that, recognizing we don't have any members of the administration present to comment, do we have any members of the public who would like to comment on this?
My name is Beth Clodfelter. I reside 35 South Janet Avenue. I know years ago when Sarah Conley-Ballou was doing more work with Upgrade Athens and stuff, we were talking about making the lift stations have solar power. And I wonder if we could do that.
Yeah, that's definitely a question I think is worth asking. I'm not aware of any solar power used for our lifts right now. Are you?
No, I
Okay,
don't think so,
yeah.
but we were wondering about that, if
Yeah.
maybe the city could get a grant to make them solar powered.
It's definitely something worth looking into.
And certainly, not 24/7 with the solar power. There would need to be definite secure backup power.
Yes,
But
of course.
that could take care of a lot of the energy use of those lift stations, which I think is considerable.
Thank you. We want to keep in our environmental implications in mind, so appreciate that. Anyone else from the public before we go to members of the committee? All right, members of the committee.
I have
Member Reisner?
a comment about the solar power for the lift stations. Those lift pumps are very large, and they consume a tremendous amount of electricity. I can't think of how in the world you would put enough panels, I'm assuming like on the roof of the lift station? Is that what we're looking at or thinking about?
Maybe on the ground as well.
You need a lot of land to do that.
You'd need a lot of it to take care of all the power needs, but they could contribute to the power needs.
Well, yeah,
It would be very
yeah.
significant.
In case folks couldn't hear, just the idea that we might not need an entirety of solar panels to cover all of the energy needs, but potentially with backup batteries and other sources, we might be able to look into that. At least we'll probably be able to get a clear answer one way or the other if solar is appropriate for this kind of project. Member Swink?
Two things. Picking up on Member Reisner, I've got quite a bit of experience in this area with the street lights that we got over on the Far East Side with NOPEC grants. We have 2.5, 3 days of clouds. The solar panels on that thing won't even light a street light.
Wow.
So, the weather we have here in Ohio, particularly in the wintertime, could be tough. But the bigger point I wanted to make, you mentioned to accommodate Marietta Memorial, and
Yes.
we're all certainly glad that we got that new facility here, the jobs it brings, the additional health care, so on and so forth. Is there any chance that they're participating in this? Because, hate to say it, when they weren't there, we didn't need it, but now that they are there, we did, kind of as a contributing good neighbor. And again, great to have them here. But I'm just wondering, is there anything out of fund associated with them that might help ease some of these funds that we have to spend out of city dollars?
I think that's a great question for us to pursue financially, the potential contributions of the hospital itself, and also to check with our administration on, we've been discussing the larger plans and aspirations for Columbus Road to continue to develop, so perhaps they're taking this into consideration as well. Great points. Any additional questions on this agenda item? All right, seeing none, President Pro Tem, that concludes City and Safety Services for the evening.
Thank you very much. Member McCary. Let's see, last but not least is the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Switcheroo.
That's chaired by myself with members McCary, Wood, and Clodfelter. And we have a couple of items. First being appropriations. And appropriations and the then and now certificate at the bottom are interrelated. The appropriations are $18,393.24 to Transportation Assistance Fund 214, transaction code 300, towards the 2024 local match. And what we have here is essentially a bill that needs to be paid. It wasn't paid in 2024, and it is due now. So these funds are necessary to be put into the appropriate account, and then the bill paid along with a then and now certificate for auditing purposes. The next item is a $340,000 to Sanitation Fund 760.636, transaction code 300, to cover solid waste contract through the end of the year. This has to do with the increase in tipping fee costs, and which was written into the contract with Rumpke, that if tipping costs increase, they would be compensated for it. The funds, I believe Member Clodfelder asked the question through an email of where the monies are coming from. This is not coming from the general fund. It's coming from our trash fund, which is healthy. It can bear that. And this was foreseen. They knew the costs were going to go up. So it's already built into the plan. Any comments on this? Then we have an interfund transfer of $15,588.63 to Internal Service Fund 865 to Internal Service Medical Fund 866. Apparently there was a bookkeeping error. I have no idea what that error was. I don't have any information on it, so I think it'd be appropriate if we knew. And I'll do my best to get that information, and once I get it to the committee. Of course, you're always free to bug someone if you care to. And the last is the then and now certificate. Council is required to take care of this in 30 days, so it's going to require a suspension. Otherwise, we're not going to make it, and we're going to be in violation of our own I must say rules, but I think there's a stronger word for it. Policies. Thank you, Member Swank. That's it. I'm having a senior moment more and more frequently these days. I need a cat. That's what I need. Cats improve your memory. Oh, thank you. My wife will love you for it. So any comments on interfund transfer or the then and now certificate from the audience? From the committee? Well, if there's no comments, that concludes business for Finance and Personnel Committee, and our committee's session is closed.